Peace and love, everyone. Welcome welcome to the With Love by Reese channel. Shout out to my baby girl Queen. It was her 4th birthday this weekend. I had her on Mother's Day 4 years ago, and that was her actual due date. So I'm so blessed and thankful. That is what the background is about. We've not taken it down yet, and we'll probably leave it up a little bit longer for her to enjoy. But thank y'all for being here. So the series that I am starting is called The Spirituality of Pregnancy and the Path of Motherhood. And this series is going to span maybe over, the next 4 weeks, give or take, depending on how much we actually have to share, which I feel like is a lot of information. But if you're tuned in here to the YouTube channel, you'll get the videos. I'm also going to go live a couple of times over on Instagram with love_by Reese. And through my Substack as well, I'll go live. And I'm also going to be writing some articles and doing a few podcast episodes over on Substack. So make sure that you tune into the other platforms to get the most out of the series. Welcome to all of the mothers, all of the mothers to be, all of the women, even if you're not a mother, but you value the role of the matriarch and the mother, and just the role of, the villager, and those who are supportive of rearing children and raising children, and those who see the importance and the value of children. So this series has been on my mind, heart, and spirit for so long. It's not something that I just, woke up and decided to do one day. This has been a long time coming. If you do not know, that I am a mother of 4, and I'm currently with my 5th baby. And it's just been quite a journey. As somebody who considers herself to be a spiritualist and a very awakened woman, a very conscious woman in this human body, I, of course, have received so many initiations and so many transformations and deaths and rebirths, and through it all, a lot of wisdom and downloads on the path of motherhood and the spirituality of pregnancy. And I thought that it would just be so neat to have a very sacred space where we would discuss things that are oftentimes overlooked or just not spoken about out loud. Like, we talk a lot about the biology and the physiology and, just the physical things that come along with pregnancy and motherhood and womanhood, but very rarely do you openly hear and speak about the spiritual essence of these stages of womanhood and of life. So this little series is just very much the tip of the iceberg. We're going to go deep, but it's not going to cover nearly as much as probably, what we could cover. So that's what the series is about. And I'm delighted and excited just to be present, to be able to present this information and to just tap in with a tribe of women who understand and know what this is about. And for those who are interested in knowing what this is about, then you're welcome here too. A few disclaimers. You don't have to be a mother to partake in this series or in any of this information. Motherhood encompasses so much. And of course, first and foremost, I always give honor and my love to the women who carry babies and who sacrifice their bodies and their lives and their livelihood to carry a child forth and to birth a child. However, and two, there is always mutual respect for the vast range of the roles of women in the area of motherhood. You know, we have aunties, you have grandma, you have cousins, you know, you have teachers, um, spiritual guides, priestesses, so many women and so many people who play the role of the mother or deeply contribute to what motherhood is. So, shout out to y'all. I just wanted to put that out there that you don't have to necessarily be a mother or even want children to partake in this series, you know? That's the first thing. Second thing, there will be no disrespect. This is not a discourse over who wants babies and who doesn't, you know, who believes that women should be birthing children in this society and who doesn't. We're not going to go there, you know, just for the people who may see this and have their own projections or experiences and feel the need to kind of go down that path. We have enough of that over on the other social media platforms, so we're not going to go there. But welcome in. This is just the first episode and the first part of the series, excuse me. So there will be a lot more, and this is kind of just like a very soft introduction to where we're going with this, so you kind of get a vibe and kind of know what this is about. All right, so thank you again to everybody who will join and who will be a part of this. Now, I actually will start off with a controversy before I get into something that I want to get into, which is the beginning or the initiation or the introduction to this series and what this is about. I want to get into something that I've seen so much on like my threads, on Instagram, and even in real life, like in real life conversations, have heard it, overheard it. And there seems to be, through the divine feminine rising and through this era that we're in as a collective people and as a society, as an economy, there's like this divide or this like, again, this discourse or these disagreements that have been coming up that I've heard a lot about. And it's like women are on one hand saying, what is it that I've heard? I love my children so much that I choose not to ever have them. Okay. Or, you know, there are women who are childless or who choose not to have children, and they're like, I'm choosing not to have children, and I'm very happy about that. Now, to that, I always say utmost honor and respect to women who make that choice and who are led down that path of not bearing a child and raising children. Honor and respect, because guess what? Everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own path. Not everybody is called to conceive and birth a child and raise a child, you know? So I think that that's beautiful, that people are exercising their own rights and their own right to choose and to co-create their reality. I have no issue with it. And I think that it's wonderful that women feel comfortable enough even in this day and age to speak out, because a while back, women would be like looked down upon, like what? Like your role and your job is to have babies. That's what religion teaches a lot. That's what it was taught a lot back in the day. So to that I say I love that. And to couples who are choosing to, you know, not bring children forth, all respect to you. However, in the same breath, my issue comes in when we start to condemn or judge those who are choosing to bring forth life. When we start to cross that line and start to project maybe our own fears, our own ideas, our own desires, our own beliefs onto those women and those families who are choosing to birth children and to rear children in this day and age. The reason I have a problem with it is because everybody has their path and their journey. And my opinion is we're not supposed to just stop having children because the state of the world is what it is. The state of the world has always been in a state. We've always had issues, drama, trauma. We've always had, what is it called? when the economy, pregnancy brain, when the economy is doing what it does, y'all help me fill it in. But there's always, moments in life where things are not ideal. We're at war. You feel me? There's a lot of things happening, and it's never, you know, ideal or a good time to say, I'm gonna pop a baby out. Or is it? So, my opinion is you don't just stop producing because of fear or because of what's going on outside. Now, is it important to consider? I think so. Again, respect to those who have that consideration. That if that's your journey, that's your journey. But there are people, women and families and couples who are gonna keep having babies. And a lot of the times it's bigger than them. It's a very spiritual thing, which is why, and part of the reason why we're about to go down this path and have this series. So it's important for us to recognize that in the same way that people choose not to have babies, it's the same way people choose to have them. It's a different calling on your life. And as women who are the womb bearers, we especially have these different downloads and epiphanies and spiritual callings. And for those who are honoring that, I respect it, and I think that it's important, and we should actually have honor and respect for women who are choosing to bring forth babies, women who are healthy, women who are in healthy situations, healthy relationships, women who are balanced in their mind and in their body, and even women who maybe they accidentally didn't mean to get pregnant, but they're still choosing to bring this baby forth. That is also a very spiritual thing, and we have to have honor for that. So, kind of leading into what this is about, the spirituality of pregnancy. Listen, when a life decides that it is going to come forth, and when it chooses that vessel, the mother, the womb, to grow in, that's a big deal. And I think that we have been so desensitized to the depth and the profound nature of what has to happen in order for a baby to be conceived. What really has to go down. Like, we may understand the physical, sperm and the egg, and, just the process. But we have come so far away from the spiritual process and what happens in the realms that we can't see when it comes to conceiving and growing and birthing a baby. It's very deep. It's not just some, random scientific happening of two lifeless mechanisms joining together and coming all of a sudden with life. These are spirits. These are spirits that have contracts, they have agreements, they go into very deep meditations and very deep negotiations before they say, I'm going to do it. Yes, I'm going to choose this woman and this family because of this specific reason, and I'm going to go. I'm going to go into the womb, and I'm going to birth, and I'm going to, birth myself, and I'm going to come forth. So let's have some respect and let's have some honor for those who choose and answer that call. All right. So that is kind of like the foundation of what this series is about, is having that honor and having that respect for the spiritual process and the very deep process that goes into play and that happens when a baby is conceived and when a baby is grown in the womb, when a baby is birthed outside of the womb into this earth. Okay? And that is what this series is about. We will be diving into a lot of different stages and spiritually what happens to the woman, what happens to her body, what happens to her womb, her mind, her spirit, her emotions. And we're going to connect that to the spiritual process of growth, birth, rebirth, death, all of the things. We're going to just kind of bring it all into a very spiritual conversation. So that's kind of where this is going. And At the end, for those who participate in this series, I'm also going to have some chances for collaboration and interaction for those who like to share their stories or their testimonies, or for those who want to come on live with me. You can comment, or you can also shoot me an email, and I'll be sure to put my email in the information section or whatever on when I post this, so that y'all can have access to that. I'm looking forward to, sharing this space. And I'm sorry, people just keep on texting me. I'm looking forward to sharing this space with y'all because we have a lot of work to do in this area. And this is also my contribution and a part of the Divine Feminine rising, because when the Divine Feminine rises, the whole earth rises. We make everything rise up. Matriarchy, which is the essence of divine femininity, we have to realize that matriarchy is not the opposite of what patriarchy is. It's not in competition with men. It's not replacing men. It is simply the realization and the practice of honoring the divinity of the whole system working together, and the whole system being centered around children, the future, what pouring into the children into the future means, and what cultivating that love and that nurturance and that power and that balance, what it really means for us all, for the growth of all humanity. So let's keep that in mind as well as we're having this conversation. And I'm just debating on if I want to go any deeper for this first little intro. I touched on kind of the basis of what I wanted to touch on as far as putting an end to this disagreement and the back and forth about child versus no child, and the importance of, what a child deciding to come into this earth, into this room really means. Some of the other things that we'll get into is the spirituality of the two people who are joining and their energies, and, when the child decides to come through two people, whatever those people have going on, whatever the couple has going on, the spirituality and the essence of the mother and how she feels when she's conceiving and when she's pregnant, and how that impacts the baby. What else? Oh, the energy that changes within the mother as she holds certain babies, and the energy of certain babies based on their zodiac, based on what time, based on their, their birth month, and also the collective energy of the year and what's going on around in the world at the time that the baby's born. All of these things are things that we should consider and that we should be discussing, we should be aware of at the very least, if we're, choosing to honor children and honor the process of pregnancy and motherhood. So Mother's Day was yesterday. I don't know when y'all gonna see this video, but Mother's Day was yesterday. And I think this goes very nicely into the celebration of motherhood. And I think that motherhood and the celebration and the honor of motherhood should be an everyday thing, because we literally are the ones who are bringing the next generation into this world. We're the ones who have decided we will devote ourselves, we'll devote our minds to constant evolution and transformation, to being a better person, being healthier, because we're choosing to grow babies and to raise children. Now, that might not be everybody's priority, but it should be if you are a mother, in whatever way it comes for you. It should always be centered around being a better version and the best version of yourself, no matter what. So thank you. Sending love to y'all. I still will be posting about other things, but I'm going to try to focus on this series. And if I do post on other things outside of the series, I'll be sure to title it so that you know what you're watching. And you can decide if you want to watch or just watch the things that I have to give for the series. So peace and love. Y'all enjoy your evening or your morning or your rising or whatever it is that you are, whatever time zone you're in when you see this.